Week 4, college football. As I said, we're starting to get to know these teams, so let's jump right into it, and let's start with Wisconsin-Notre Dame. Wisconsin-Notre Dame, matchup of top 20 opponents. The line opened at 4.5. It is now up to 6.5, and with really good reason. Wisconsin is a really good team. I should mention, Wisconsin is the 6.5-point favorite, not Notre Dame. Notre Dame is obviously a very public team, but there is a very good reason that Wisconsin is favored in this game. First of all, their strength on offense goes directly against Notre Dame's weakness on defense. Wisconsin runs the ball really well. They've basically been running the ball really well as long as time itself, as long as I've been watching college football. Wisconsin has been known as a running team. This year is no different. They rank 10th nationally in rushing yardage, 266 yards per game. They've only played 2 games, but it's not like they haven't played a good team in Penn State, one of the elite defenses in college football. And Wisconsin was able to run the ball right at them. You know, change that with Notre Dame. Notre Dame not stopping the ball very well. If you remember, they gave up 264 yards rushing against Florida State. Not sure if you heard. Florida State ain't very good this year, people. We'll talk plenty of Florida State later. But Notre Dame in this season is really struggling to stop the run. 75th nationally in rushing defense, allowing over 4.5 yards, right under 4.5 yards per rush. So 75th nationally in rushing defense. And then in terms of yards per rush, Notre Dame is 92nd nationally, giving up 4.32 yards per carry to the opposition. With that said, before you rush to the window and throw all your money, your life savings on Wisconsin, it is worth noting a few things. One, by the way, I should mention in terms of why Wisconsin is favored, it's exactly what I said. The rushing game, the run game goes against Notre Dame's weakness. Also from there, it is worth mentioning as well, Wisconsin's defense is awesome. I talked about it a little bit on the show on Monday, but this is a defense that has always been good historically. It is no different this year as Wisconsin, once again, number 2 in total defense. In terms of scoring defense, they are also towards the top of the country in that category, giving up very few scores per game, I should say. Scoring defense, again, number 11 nationally, under 12 points per game. And so, again, that is why Wisconsin is favored in this game and why the number keeps going up. Their offensive strength goes against Notre Dame's defensive weakness. And then from there, Wisconsin's defense is playing really well. There is one concern, though, and a couple things that again, the only goal is to get you the best information possible. And so there are some things, if you want to bet Wisconsin, that I at least want you to be aware of. One, Graham Mertz. I'm telling you, it's no disrespect to the kid. I don't wish him any ill will. This is not me trying to tear him down. He hasn't been very good, though. He won the job last year, got a lot of hype. Obviously, he beat out Jack Cohn, who he's going to be facing this week for Notre Dame. But he beats out Jack Cohn, and when he wins the job, it's this big heralded thing. You know, everybody's writing articles about him. I believe he was the highest-ranked quarterback recruit in the history of recruiting rankings. And he hasn't been very good since the first game. First game he plays against Illinois. This was last year during the COVID season, so it was late in the year because the Big Ten started so late. Throws for 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and everybody is hailing him as the next great quarterback in the history of quarterback play. Just one problem. The rest of last season, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in the subsequent 5 games for Wisconsin last year. 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions this year. So 5 touchdowns in his opening game, 0 interceptions. Since then, 4 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, including 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions this year. And so if you want to bet on Wisconsin, not telling you what to do, just be wary. This guy, at some point, people are going to make him beat them, and right now he has not shown an ability to do so. I would also add, as it pertains to Wisconsin, never forget that Penn State game. If you listen to this show from episode 1, I had Wisconsin in that game, and I had the under. And the reason I had Wisconsin was because I did put faith in Graham Mertz. But the thing that cost Wisconsin that game, they gave up a bunch of plays deep. Again, I've used the stat many times, but Penn State 150 yards of their 250 came on 3 plays. And so Wisconsin was exposed with the deep ball, and that is something also to consider when thinking about this game. Graham Mertz hasn't been as good as people think. And also in terms of the Wisconsin defense, worth noting, they did give up a few big plays deep. You wonder, Jack Cohn, I'm not I played football at the high school level. I never played in college. How much Jack Cohn really knows about the Wisconsin playbook, how much they're adding to the playbook. That's not something I could really speak to. That's more of like a Cole Kubelik, Greg McElroy, Joel Klatt, Kirk Herbstreit type question. But you got to think that Jack Cohn is going to be fired up to play his former team. Not telling you how to bet. I am just saying it does feel like just about everybody really likes Wisconsin in the game. Be wary of Graham Mertz if that's who you're going to take.